And we are live.
Hello. We don't own the rights to this music, but we definitely enjoy jamming off of it.
We do.
James Brown, Papa don't take no mess.
Look, and this weekend we spent a lot of time watching some of the Black History
Right.
shows, and James Brown happened to be one of the ones
Right.
that we watched, and all of his dancing and antics. We were like,
man,
James
you forget
Brown.
about how many songs James Brown had and how many that he did. And what's so amazing about me with James Brown is the band. I mean, he's a ultimate performer, but I mean, man, the music that he danced to, and the music he wrote, man, oh my God.
Yeah, I was watching him, and then we saw Shirley Chisholm. Was that right?
Yeah.
Barbara Jordan.
Yeah. A lot of history had forgotten about.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I was watching today. I kind of tuned into our guest page. I call her Lynn. You guys, we got a guest today. You guys, this is a part 2. So if you have not already tagged a friend, share the broadcast for today, please put somebody's name in the chat, because we don't want them to miss any of this conversation. But I was looking at, hey, Roy McFadden, what's going on?
Hey, Roy. Man, I was thinking about you today.
And so I was looking.
Kiss Louise for me.
I was checking out Lynn's page. My guest's name is Bishop Marlon Thomas, but I call her Lynn. That's a name that I've always referred to her as.
Bishop.
And
right.
Bishop, right?
Yep.
They're going to be on shortly. And so I was checking out Lynn's page today, and at church they did a Black History.
Okay.
Kind of attire. Everybody
dressed
in
African
attire.
Yeah,
I thought that was so neat. I would love to do things like that. I remember back in the days in my church that I grew up in, we did things like that.
Yeah.
So now, as we grow, we forget about that, and I just enjoy seeing it. And then today I took a page. Everybody's joining in. Hey, what's going on, you guys? As you're joining in, this is GodFidence. This is our episode 6, part 2, with Loving Again. I got something funny to tell you, babe. Please don't let me forget when our guests come on. So thank you, guys. Look, I'm gonna tell y'all a little secret. Zoom is off the chain. Zoom even does little look. Should I be telling my business, baby? But I tell everything.
Yeah.
They do so next time you do a Zoom, it even does some little touch-ups. So look like I went and did my makeup and all that. And I did put some makeup on. But they do the little touch-ups.
Oh, really?
So if you got little whatever going on.
You don't put no lipstick on me.
Now look, y'all, in the past, I would do these Zooms, and I would try to do something fancy, and then Fuller would end up with pink lipstick on, and I'm like, no, not that one. So it would mess up the whole thing. So we spent our time trying to make sure that, look, come on, James, right? Tagging folks. Y'all tag people.
Yeah.
Y'all know somebody wants to hear a good love story. And this is what today's broadcast is all about.
Especially with everything that's going on negative today, and the political climate, the crime, the murders, and just hear something good. And this is really good.
Yes.
This is really good. A real love story. that we're introducing you to that we know about.
Yes. And so we are so excited. So you guys, please tag a friend. Y'all put your hands on the keyboards and type somebody else's name. And so that, we're streaming this live from Facebook to YouTube. And I'm sure Lynn and them, they probably do Instagram. They got Twitter. I'm sure they got everything. I just try to keep it simple. And if y'all saw Lynn posted the flyer,
right,
for advertising. I was like, come on, Bishop.
Get a quick shout out to Gwen and Chad and Kim, Dennis McBride, my friend down in South Carolina, Pastor McBride.
Yes.
Just give everybody a shout out today.
Yes, and I see my girlfriend, Miss Norma, Gwen, and I see my girlfriend Carmela Scott. Carmela has been a dear friend of mine for years. Her husband passed away a few years ago, and so I'm glad she's joining us too. Okay, so you guys, we got to get started. I am going to, I want to stop this ticker from going, but I want to welcome you guys to tonight's session. We got everybody's joining in. We're going to have a full audience. There's not going to be any more seats, so if you haven't joined already, you're going to miss out on your seat. So make sure you tell somebody to join in today. But look, you guys, we have our guest tonight. We have Bishop Marlon Thomas and her fiance, Bishop James Wright, joining us today. And so they don't really need any more introduction. You guys have got to go back and watch part one. So we're going to jump right on into our conversation today. We've got Bishop Wright Thomas, and then here we go. Yes, sir.
Bishop.
Yep.
Looking good.
What's up?
I'm good. How about yourself?
Yes, sir. I'm good.
Good. Looks like you guys have had some rest. We know I was chatting with Lynn, and I said, now they went on a small little staycation away, just a break to get away, and so Bishop came to the church not too long ago to Lynn's church and ministered, and then y'all went away, right?
Well, we were right there in his hometown, so
you flew back to South Florida with me.
Yeah,
you were still working then. You were still working.
I wasn't.
She wasn't though, right?
Right.
I saw your pictures, Lynn. Lynn was hanging out.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Lynn was enjoying herself. And so, you guys, we're going to get started back on part 2 of our conversation. And so we've got Lynn is the pastor, or Bishop Lynn Marilyn Thomas, the pastor of Lifeline Family Worship Center, and then Bishop James Wright, senior pastor of The Point 317 in Miami, Florida.
All right.
And so where do you want to start, babe?
Well, I just want to start it. How does it feel to be in love?
Oh, that's good.
Especially love again.
I'm gonna let her. She's a lot better with matters of the heart.
I saw that coming, Bishop. I saw that coming.
Well, thank you for passing the buck to me, and it's so easy for me to talk about, because when you love the person that you are with, it's easy to express your feelings. It's not something you have to make up or think about. It just flows. He'll tell you, I'll tell him I love you probably what seems like 100 times, a day. And it's a great feeling, especially coming out of grief and just trusting God and believing God, for love again. It's a wonderful, wonderful feeling. I think when God built us for companionship, he built us for love. And it's nothing like being in a relationship and knowing that you're with your best friend, your purpose-driven mate. Some people call it a soulmate. And there are times I've said that, but your purpose-driven mate too, because we're assigned to each other's purpose. And so that love is easy. It just flows. It's like water. It just flows.
Amen.
Yeah. So, but Lynn, you weren't looking for love, even though you had been married before, right? But you weren't looking, right?
I wasn't necessarily quote unquote looking. I had wrote a book, let me put my book in here again. I did write my book. And so I wrote a book, A Queen Waiting on Her King, which you can get on my website, and I'll put that in there. But I wrote that book because when I became a widow, I was for the first time single as an adult, and I for this length of time, and I kind of just had never been by myself. To be honest with you, I had my older son younger, and then my, younger son was always with me. So for the first time in my adult life, I was by myself when I became a widow. And it was the most stressful and the hardest thing, because I'm a little sister, so I've always had somebody in the house with me until I became a widow. And it was challenging. I had a chance to really experience what single life was like, being by yourself. And at first, I'm going to be honest, I didn't embrace that single life. I didn't really like it because, again, I hadn't been, at that place, and especially without having children, in the house. And so I wrote the book, A Queen Waiting on Her King, because we were in the thick of COVID. And so it wasn't like we could go out and fellowship, and I'm sitting up here like, well, how do you even meet somebody? Where do these things transpire? So I had time on my hand, and I wrote this book, A Queen Waiting on Her King. And I really just kind of processed where I was as a single, all the things I had heard from singles. And to be totally transparent with you all, I actually went to, and they don't pay me, so I don't really promote it, but I'm big on people extending their horizons when it comes to dating with the online community. So because we were in the thick of COVID, me being a pastor, I asked people like, how do you meet people? I don't know what this was about. And I knew a lot of singles who wanted to get married. And so I went to the online dating community to talk to guys about what it is you're looking for in a woman. And I met some really nice guys, and I was honest with everybody. Let me put this out there. I was honest with every person. Hey, I'm writing a book. I'm here for research, information, not trying to get hooked up or anything like that. Again, we were in COVID. I had a lot of time on my hands. And that was the first time. And let me back it up just one second. I first asked my son. And I asked him, and he was like, oh my, everybody's on online dating. And he gave me like 200 online dates. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, yeah, for real? I'm like, I'm thinking in my age bracket, I'm thinking only certain kind of people go to online dating, And so I found out, no, that's not the case. I met a lot of professional people, from pastors to doctors. I mean, you name it. And so I wrote the book from the perspective. Again, you asked, was I looking for love? I think coming out of grief, I didn't know what I was looking for. I just didn't want to be by myself initially. Yeah. I can honestly say that. And so since I had time on my hands, and I didn't want people I knew I was still dealing with my own level of grief. But since I had time on my hands, I wrote the book and I talked to people about, what are you looking for? What is it that you want? What, as a king, the book just came to, fruition. And then in meeting people and talking, I realized, you know what? I think I do want to love again. I want to give this a shot. This wasn't just now for a platform. This wasn't just for people. And this was my way of processing my own grief, because I was considered a young widow. And so I had a lot of widows that were coming to me. Some were still stuck in 20-year hurts. Others just didn't know what it was like to move on even from a 5-year hurt. And so God kind of unknowingly, I became this champion voice for widows of finding love and, and inspiring. And in that process, of it, I had a chance to see where I was emotionally, what I was looking for. When you're a widow, and I tell people all this all the time, and Bishop Wright knows this, I didn't have a bad marriage, so because I didn't have a bad marriage, I didn't have a bad experience. Though I didn't know exactly what I was looking for in this new chapter that God was going to bring me into as I met different people, I didn't have a bad experience. And so I opened my heart. I think if you're going to find love, love is going to find you. You need to be whole so that you can get to that place. Sometimes God sends people alongside your journey to help you in that healing process, but you have to be whole in your mind to know it's something you want and not just something you need. I think our wants and our needs can get mixed up. And if we go just by what we need, then when our needs change emotionally, then we change. And I didn't want that to happen. I didn't want a filler. I didn't want somebody just put a Band-Aid on my situation. I wanted to take time to find out, what do I want? I know what I had, but what do I want? And so I opened my heart to love again.
Yeah.
And
so Lynn,
yes.
So in that process of loving again, now you've got a congregation, right?
Yes.
You've got family. So I believe Bishop Wright shared with us in part 1. He went before his congregation, had some conversations about, finding love again and what that looked like. For you, I don't know if I remember you sharing your side of what did your family say and what did your congregation think? Because your husband, while he wasn't the senior pastor of the church, your late husband, he was involved. And so this was new for them.
I think my congregation, they had seen me with the back-to-back grief. They just wanted me to be happy.
Yeah,
to be honest, they were so welcoming. They were so excited for me. But the person that it meant the most to, the one that carried the greatest weight, to be transparent, was my son. Because I knew that this was a relationship that I was going to have with somebody outside of the 4 walls of the church. Yes, our church family has a level of, influence, if I could say it that way. But the greatest one is my baby, Right. And so I wanted to make sure he was good. And he was. I think he was so happy for me. He was happy to see me happy. Like, he knows me, he really, your children know you. And he knew that I was happy from a different place. And he celebrated that. And then as he celebrated, my mom and dad celebrated, my family just took Bishop right in, and they were like, hey, we sell her off to you today, and I think the other thing is, not only did they all want to see me happy, but they didn't want to see me by myself.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So what else?
Well, Bishop, how does it feel to have the person that's going to walk along with you as you fulfill your destiny?
It's great. For me, it was a little bit different, because coming out of, coming out of divorce, I was, to be honest, I wasn't looking for anything or anybody.
Enough of this.
Yeah, man, it was kind of different for me. I actually, when I met Bishop Marlon, I was actually coming to Atlanta to just get away and maybe talk to my spiritual father. And I was just coming to like chill, to just like rest my mind. And just, I was leaving I think I was coming up there on a Thursday, and I was going to leave and go back the following Tuesday or something. And I was just going to lay in a hotel. And then I said, well, I better tell my spiritual father I'm in town. And so I told him I was in town. And he said, well, then you have to preach for me this Sunday. Bishop Young, he was like, no, you preaching for me this Sunday. Matter of fact, it happened to be Pentecost Sunday. I was going to be gone from my church on Pentecost Sunday.
Wow.
I just needed to just.
You was tired.
Yeah, I need to rest my mind from the trauma. So basically, I wasn't really looking at the time, because I was just trying to recover. And I think for me, and I believe Bishop Marlon will probably agree with this, I think for me it was a process. For me it was the process of healing and then opening my heart again, to love and to receive love the way that she was giving it to me, because I wasn't used to that.
Right.
I wasn't accustomed to that. So it was almost like when you say, how's it feel to be loved? For me, it was really different, because, I won't, like I said, go into anything in the past or anything like that. Right. But coming forward, it was almost like how you get something, you almost don't know what to do with it.
Right.
What do I do with this? How do I handle this? Because it's different. It's my psychologist, or my therapist rather, said that I had a adjustment disorder, because I had to adjust. So for me, it feels wonderful. I think as I have adjusted to it, as I have opened my heart and healed, because you don't really know how it feels when you ask that question about how does it feel like to be loved and be in love again. You really don't know until you heal, or you really can't understand the full scope of it until you heal, or at least until you heal to a certain degree, before you can actually start like really just understanding and receiving like this wave of love that's coming at you.
Right.
Because, in a traumatic situation, and when I say trauma, I don't mean like something life-threatening, but through the trauma of divorce, you're at a point where you question everything.
Right.
You're a little bit skeptical about everything. You're a little bit guarded, with everything. And so her love was able to break down those walls, and patience, was able to break down those walls. I'm completely open now. I think she will tell you I'm much better than I was coming out of what I had dealt with. I think she will tell you that I'm a lot better now. I'm there, right, baby.
Okay. Love looks good on you, man.
It's wonderful. It's wonderful now. It's wonderful. I mean, we came through our bumps with me and my I guess you would call it emotional PTSD. You know, we went through our bumps in the road, but no, it's wonderful now. It's wonderful now. It's amazing, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. You know, it just completely changed who. It completely changed, you know, just who I was, and you know, and how I guess how I perceived and received love, and was able to love back, you know, and was able to love back. It helped me to open up my heart and just, you know, say, hey, I can, you know, I'm safe with her. That's what I'm trying to say. You know, her love is now, I feel safe to love her. You know, people won't admit that, you know, especially men.
Right.
Yeah, right.
I was just about to ask you that, because not a lot of men. Now, you and Fuller are different, because he was very transparent with me and opened up his heart. And to hear you say that, not a lot of men will do that and be transparent enough to even say, I had to open up my heart. What kind of advice would you give our men, that whether they're married or they are dating, and maybe that woman is looking for them to be transparent and open up? How do you do that?
Well, number one, you got to acknowledge your traumas. You got to stop acting like it didn't happen.
Right. Right.
You know, because we don't want to acknowledge weakness.
Right.
We would never, let's just say, for instance, and I'm not referring to my past at all. I'm just saying, let's say a man will never want to admit that a woman hurt him.
Right.
We don't want to admit that we was hurt. We don't want to admit that we've suffered any kind of emotional upheaval. You know, we don't want to admit that. So the first thing we got to do is admit that we do get hurt, that we do have emotions.
It's called life. It's called life.
It's called life, and there are times when that opposite sex will get the best of your emotions, young man. You know, and you got to heal from that. The first thing is to pray. I will never skip that. The first thing is for any young man is to pray, and then acknowledge that I've been hurt, and acknowledge the fact that I need to be healed. It wasn't until I was able to say I need to be healed, or I'm on a healing journey, that I was able to recognize even some of my triggers.
Right.
You know, now because I would admit it, even if I'm triggered now, I can stop and say, hey, baby, that was a trigger. I'm sorry, you know, or whatever. But if you never acknowledge and be transparent about the fact that you have triggers, that there are things that have happened to you that are going to make you see that new lady through the lenses of what you've been through,
right,
then you will never overcome that and truly open your heart to love again. And so I would tell any young man, you know, the first thing you got to do is you got to, like she likes to say to me, you got to take off your Superman cape.
Right.
You know,
right.
You got to take off your Superman cape. You are not bulletproof.
Right.
You're not bulletproof. Admit that you got hit with some haymakers.
Right.
And that you need to heal. And you know, and this trust, especially if you're married already. If you married this woman and you want to make it work, trust her with your heart.
Yeah. Because it doesn't work if you don't communicate your true feelings.
Right. You gotta trust. So you gotta trust her with what you're telling her.
Right.
I know that I can trust Marlon with anything that any hurts, any weaknesses. I know that I can trust. I know my heart is safe.
Right.
You see, my heart is safe. So, you know, if you don't trust her with your heart, bro, you're not gonna ever open up and be transparent.
Right. So I got another question. So as I've listened to Bishop Marlon Thomas over the last few sessions that we've had, and I saw her at her bridal shower, she didn't talk. She's powerful. She got a very strong personality. In fact, babe, check this out. Lynn posted the flyer. And see, I called this broadcast something else. I called it Finding Love Again. Lynn done changed the whole title. She said it's called Love. What is it called, Lynn? Loving Again.
Loving Again.
And so I had to change my title in GodFidence because Lynn said, she didn't say it to me. But I was like, okay. But how do you think you're gonna handle? I have a strong personality, so Fuller would be on me.
Definitely. I said definitely. Okay, I'm just agreeing. I'm saying amen.
So I have a strong personality.
Oh, Bishop. Yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. This thing right here.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Bishop, right? How do you think you're going to manage, or not manage is not the right word, but be able to deal with such a strong woman?
I honestly, I don't think that I have to. What I mean is my personality is so strong. And she feels like she's alpha, but I'm probably even 10 times more alpha. She will tell you, I'm very no nonsense.
Right.
I'm very no gray area. So if you think she's strong, she will tell you that I don't think I have to handle her. I don't think I have to handle her strength, because I will never tell you she's stronger than me. I will never allow her to think she's stronger than me.
Come on.
Never surrender.
Because I'm the head of the household.
Right.
And so I don't have to, so what I'm saying is I don't have to deal with her strength.
Right.
Because I want her to be who she is. I asked God for cute and quiet. That ain't what he gave me. He gave me cute. But I believe God knew that he couldn't give me someone that I would be bumping heads with, in leadership. And we crashing back and forth because both of us want to wear the pants.
Right.
I don't believe God would have done that to me.
No.
So I believe in her strength. I believe in her. She'll tell you. I've told her, man, I love how you do leadership. I've told her, I say I'm results oriented. So when I see her leadership, the way that she has trained them, the way that they operate, in the church, the way that I have no problem with that, because I see her strength as a strength.
Right.
Even to my life, I see her strength
but
as
a strength. As a strength.
Exactly. So it's nothing that I have to handle. I think that because of how I am and who she is, we just naturally flow together.
Let me tell you this. When I first met Fuller, and I think we were dating. We were talking one day, and I must have said something. He said, I just want you to know, I ain't no punk. So don't get that twisted now.
I'm a grown man. Because I'm so jovial. I'm always jovial. And
you ain't what they used to call henpeck. You ain't that.
No.
Yeah, we ain't that.
It can't come nigh thee.
Right. You were very clear. I am not no punk.
No. Don't get the smile and the laughter. Don't get it twisted. See, I don't have to say anything. If she's saying anything that I don't like or anything to get out of order, considered out of order, I just do like this. And she said, okay. Because I will never raise my voice. I never lay hands. I never do any of those things. If I got to do that, I got to go. Because I'm not communicating to you what needs to be communicated to you. And we have this saying, Fuller loves Fuller. So Fuller loves Fuller, Fuller loves Fuller. So Fuller ain't gonna do nothing to hurt Fuller. Fuller ain't gonna do nothing to disappoint Fuller. Fuller ain't gonna cheat, slap, raise his voice at Fuller. So Fuller, if Fuller hurt Fuller, he hurt Fuller. So that keeps everything within order.
Yeah.
Right. You see, I'm not a yeller and a screamer, and she'll tell you I'll shut down. Yeah, I'm not gonna yell, scream. I'm never even. I told her the story when I was a police officer. It was so bad I couldn't put my hands on a woman. So I was arrested. I was undercover. in this prostitution detail, and I arrested this prostitute. And when I showed her my badge, she started fighting me. She started swinging at me, fighting me. And so my partners were trying to get there in their cars to help me. And they were laughing so hard because they could see me out in the middle of the street with this prostitute trying to swing on me and fight me. And I'm just trying to duck and hold her. And they were like, dude, why didn't you just knock her out? I'm like, because I couldn't, man.
Just can't do it. It's not in me.
I just couldn't hit her, man. I just couldn't do it because she's a woman. I couldn't touch her, man. I'm out there ducking and trying to, they laughed at me for years about that. But so I'm not a yeller. I'm not a fighter. But you know, I think that because, you know, she's strong, that's not a problem. But her strength is a strength in our relationship. And I wouldn't want her to change or not be, again, her church is where it is because of her leadership and because of her strength. You know, I'm not just gassing her up. I mean, it's true. You know, her church functions the way that it functions, and you know that scripture where it talks about how the Queen of Sheba came and saw, you know, Solomon and his servants and all of that, saw and said the half hasn't been told. Well, that's what I see when I go to her church. You know, they now call me their spiritual father and all that. But listen, I know full well where that order came from. You know, from her leadership teaching and the way that she leads. So I don't. That's nothing that for me to manage or handle. It's gonna help me. It's gonna help me at my church. You know, I want it cute and quiet. God knew I didn't need. He knew I needed cute, but not quiet.
So that brings me to another question. Then I think I heard your response just because I was watching when you came to Lifeline a few weeks ago. So as far as Full and I, we still have two houses, right? We're in the house that I originally had, and so he has a house in Fayetteville, and so he decided to move with me into this house. So you guys are in two different locations. How's all of that going to work? And I know there's not going to be a whole lot of changes ministry wise, but talk to us about that for just a little bit.
You want to handle that one?
That's the number one question everybody has.
Everybody's question.
We get asked that. But I want to say this real quick, as I know that I have a lot of females on that are pastors and ministers. And hey to everybody that's on, I see y'all. I really want to answer that question, especially from a female leadership perspective of how to handle, because I think oftentimes when you are a female pastor, we're misunderstood. Our strength is misunderstood oftentimes. And we lead men, which means that even though we're women, we cannot lead from a weak perspective, you know, because surely if no man wants to follow a weak man, they sure don't want to follow a weak woman, you know. And so, so my strength is built in my mantle because of who God called me to be. So there's never a managing, it's a complimenting. And that's what Bishop was saying. You know, we complement each other. He knew who I was when we met each other. So it wasn't something that I had to shift and become. And oftentimes, and I'm talking to the female pastors that are on and female ministers that are on, that we don't have to be something we're not. Whoever God has called to be with us, they're going to accept us in that call. You know, I went back, I'm going to go back real quick on when it came to the online dating survey and asking guys, what are you looking for? You know, what is it that you want in a woman in different age brackets? What is it that you want? You know, and the answers, they vary, you know, from what people were looking for and what people wanted. And I think the thing is, until we actually know who we are and what we're called to do let me talk to the female ministers for a quick second. You'll just get on those sites and you'll be trying to be something you're not. And let me tell y'all something, online dating is huge. When I tell you it's huge, if I had the money to put into an app, I would actually give me an online dating before anything else. Because it's a platform that people are scrolling all the time on, trying to find their perfect match. And the thing, when you're a female pastor and minister, you know, you are sitting in a different pool, you know, of people. And so you can't be something you're not. Who God has for you is who God has for you. And that's the thing with Bishop. You know, we wasn't necessarily looking for each other, but God knew who we needed for our assignments. He wanted cute and quiet, you know. I wanted, you know, Joe the janitor, somebody who could come along, hold my bag, you know, amen, me, cheer me on. And he was quick to say, I am not that guy. And he understood I was quick to say, I'm cute, but I'm not quiet. I'm a prophet. I will not be muscled, you know. And so you have to understand that part. So the managing is not so much managing, but it's respecting. And we respect who we both are. We respect the office. We respect the call. We respect the position. And so we complement each other. You know, though I am a senior leader, I'm also submitted. And I think there's a part of us as women that we know how to innate, you know, it's built in us. I mean, God created, you know, Eve after Adam. I don't care what nobody say. I don't think she was on the 8th day, but she definitely was created, you know, afterwards. And so I'm submitted. I'm submitted to him as my man of God, as my fiance. You know, I will be submitted to him as my head. So there's not something that we have to battle. You know, it's one of those, I come up under, hey, babe, what you want to do? I come up under. We don't have to battle, you know, for position or entitlement. If he says, hey, let's table that, let's knock it out. Okay, cool. And I think sometimes as female pastors and female ministers, there is a balance, whether your husband is in ministry or your husband is not in that senior leadership position, because he's still going to be their head. You know, and with my late husband, he wasn't the senior pastor. So there was a role reversal. So when I was in the church, I was the senior pastor. He respected that. When I came home, I submitted up under him. So it's not a hard thing for me to do, you know, by no stretch. I'm just like, I told him I sit over there and be cute and quiet. He was like, yeah, that ain't going to work. I said, just don't give me the mic. I'll be good. Don't give me
the mic. Never happened.
Never happened.
Never happened.
I said, listen, after 21 years, I want to be somewhere cute and quiet.
Right.
Put my first lady hat on. Amen, honey. I'm past needing to speak or anything like that. I want to see him. I want to see my man of God become great. Any great woman want to see their man of God become great because I stand on his shoulders. He's always going to be my head when we become that. So as God opened doors for him and he moved into his greatness, I can't help but be that too, because it's going to fall on me. So that's how we see, you know, ministry and life. Now, we live in 2 different states. We pastor in 2 different states, and we've managed to, you know, date and do long distance dating. And it has truly worked for us. We're going to continue to do the same thing. You know, when we get married, I'm not leaving Georgia. He's not leaving Florida. We'll just have 2 homes in 2 different states. The difference with us is because we're senior leaders, you know, we understand our assignment to God. There will be a time when I know that we will have to, if not merge, you know, our commitment is 5 days. We know we're going to be in the same state, but we're so focused on our assignment that, you know, we understand grace. If babe can't come home this week, okay, we're good. Because I might be somewhere preaching over here. You know, we can't just jump on a plane with each other, you know, when we have speaking engagements and stuff like that, because sometimes our schedules are going in different directions because we do the same thing, you know. And so I can't just drop the spiritual children I have and he can't, you know, I'll just drop his spiritual children. So we give grace. And the thing is, when we can, we are definitely there. It's a difference when you're both senior pastors, you know, as opposed to an in-house minister. And so because we've talked about that, you know, I have grandkids and my parents are here in Georgia and his family is in Miami. So we both also understand we're not in our 20s, you know. Right. And so we have family that we still want to, you know, keep a part of our everyday life, you know, as much as we can. So we've given ourselves, you know, 6 months to a year to see how it works out. Of course, Florida is always going to be my favorite because the weather is, I made a promise to God, I'm going to get to this beach one day out the week minimum, you know. So we're going to make it work though. Yeah. You know,
I think the kids, we say this to each other all the time. We're not 25-year-olds just getting married for the first time. Ooh, we got to just be all up under each other. And we're too far along. So there are a whole lot of other factors that we have to factor in to our relationship. Like she said, grandchildren, children, her parents, both of my parents are deceased, but ministries, you know. So there's so much more that we. I like that, Dr. Brody. Say
Right.
2 places, 1 love. There's so much more that we factor in than just being, 22, 23 years old, getting married for the first time. We're able to everybody just come together. We got too much, so we're not in that place, and we both, I think, understand that.
Well, see, the key to what you guys are saying is communications. We did on a panel Saturday night on Love Connection, and it was for their Valentine's, but they did it afterwards. And this is what I told them, and this is what the theme was throughout. If you communicate right, everything else will come out all right. Whether it's finances, whether it's sex, whether it's raising the kids, or whatever you do, and you guys have communicated y'all roles, you have defined each one of y'all positions, and that's wonderful. We had some doctors on, our friends of ours, Dr. Smith and Dr. Blake, and they have a practice in Feb. Unit City. Mm-hmm. And she still go by the name of Dr. Smith, and he go by the name Dr. Blake. Yeah. He said, well, when she's in the office, she's Dr. Smith, but when she come home, she's Mrs. Blake. So, yep. So I like that from him. And Q, I call her Q. Darlene is a lot of times because of her business, she's still Quincy, yep. But when she come home, she's Mrs. Fuller.
Yep. So, you guys, we are wrapping down the time, but I got a little game I'd like to play with you guys before we get ready to. What is our countdown, you guys, on wedding day?
What is it? 13 days.
13 days. Look, yeah. Okay. So we've got.
I am going to exit, y'all. Excuse me, because I got another Zoom waiting on me, so I got to get on there. Love you guys. Thanks for coming on. Thank you.
Yes, I got to set up though. Okay, so look, real quick. Okay, it is 6:38, and I'm going to ask you guys some questions. It's not even a question; it's one word. And you just respond with the first thing that comes to your mind. Okay, Lynn, I just love your smile. You just smile all the time. And and let me say this to our listeners, because we got a mixture of people that normally tune in, and then we got some new people. When we ask questions, you guys, it's no disrespect to Bishop Thomas or Bishop Wright. We're asking questions for things that I think that our audience want to know, but they don't get a chance to ask that. And we don't talk about certain things from the pulpit. So we're very transparent in what we share. And I'm thankful that they're transparent in what they share and what they've shared for the last 2 episodes. So this is part 2. So, okay. So Lynn, I'm going to start with you. One word, and you just tell me what comes to your mind. I kind of know the answers. Love.
My fiance. I know it's 2.
No, I know. Bishop Wright.
Yes.
Florida.
Home.
Lynn, happy.
God.
Bishop Wright. March the 10th.
Happiest day of my life.
Oh, I love that. Okay. Lynn, family.
Where your heart is.
Okay. Bishop Wright, money.
Lots of it.
Okay. Lynn, joy.
Self-love.
Okay. And Bishop Wright, I'm going to ask both of you guys this question. Marilyn, Lynn.
That's for me?
Yes, it is.
Love.
And Lynn, Bishop Wright or James Wright.
Love and best friend.
Oh, I just love you guys. I need some tissue. Anybody else need some tissue? It's coming up so quickly, and we're so excited for you guys. I remember when November 6th came for me and Fuller. It was the best day of my life. finding love again is so awesome. And so we want to say thank you guys for tuning in. We wish you guys, we pray for an outstanding, a supernatural, just whatever you've been believing God for it to be even greater than what you can ever imagine, ask, or think. And so we are so excited for March the 10th and the days that are leading up. May you have peace and sweatless victory. May every bit of the finances be easy, be sweatless, everything is paid for in advance. Every person that is working with you guys to make it happen, that it goes over beyond anything you can ever ask for. And I'm just so excited for what God is doing for this new loving again relationship and all of it coming together. You guys, we give people hope for new love and loving again. And so we want to say thank you guys for participating in part 1 and 2. You know, I want a part 3, but I ain't gonna ask. But thank you guys for your time and for joining us. Fullers, and I do have another Zoom coming up. But thank you guys. And if you, Lynn, would you drop your book information again in the chat so that, okay, of course, go ahead, Lynn.
Okay, Dr. Alicia, I see one of my spiritual daughters, Dr. Alicia, on. Will you put my website in there, www.motivationwithdrmarlin.com. You can grab my book, A Queen Waiting on Her King. It's full of prayers of the Word of God. And I tell you, I walked this thing out, and little did I know that my king would find me the day that he found me. You never know where, you never know how, but who God has for you is for you. And I'm so thankful that not only did God send my king, but he sent him from a warm place so I could
for the beach.
For the beach. See, God knew that was the setup right there. That was the setup. And so I could get to the beach. But thank y'all so much for supporting my book, and to all the singles, to all the widows. I know our time is spent, but I just want to encourage you. Be encouraged. Open your heart to love again. Open your heart to trust God again. Even to those that have gone through a divorce, open your heart to love again. The last chapter doesn't have to be the last chapter. The new chapter that God has in your life can be the chapter that you choose to win in. So just remember that. Yes.
And Bishop Wright, you want to close us out with anything?
I'm just excited. Thank you for having someone put on part 3 after the wedding.
You know what? I agree with you then, John C. I'm with you. So, but you know what? That is what we're going to do after the wedding. You guys are for a few months. We're going to come back and do a part 3. Where are they now?
Where are they now? Oh my goodness. Well, I appreciate you guys having us on. I'm just looking forward to March 10th. I'm excited about it. My spiritual father just happened to take me to the right place at the right time and introduce me to the right woman, and it'll be all history from there. So thank you for having us.
You're welcome. You see the wedding in the background? We've already started.
On the beach, that's me.
And the yacht. Don't forget the yacht now.
Oh yeah, I like that yacht.
Definitely gotta have a yacht.
Well, you guys, thank you so much for joining us. We love you, and we know that everything is going to be just amazing on March the 10th. So you guys be blessed, and y'all take care of one another. And thank you for joining us on Loving or Love Again. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Charlene.
I don't have no music, but then we're going to dance it on out. Come on, dance it on out, Bishop Wright. Come on. Okay, I see you. You take care, you guys. We love you.